Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna speak about an interesting matter. Can musicality be improved or developed? So everybody in the music world speaks about techniques, about practicing, about chords and scales, about mental improvement and many other things that could help a musician to become an accomplished artist. But at least in my experience, no one speaks about the most important matter of all. The thing that is it all about, the basic trait of musicianship. Nobody speaks about musicality. I'm neither a music scientist nor a trachologist, nor am I a music teacher. I can only share my personal opinion from the perspective of decade-long experiences as a musician, arranger and composer, which I'd like to share here on my channel. And no matter if you agree or not, feel free to drop a comment, and needless to say, I'd very much appreciate subscribers to my channel. Thank you. So recently I came across a dispute among musicians about musicality. What is it, where it comes from, and if it's possible to develop some degree in musicality, and if it's possible to kind of improve musicality. And to keep it short, we did not come to any conclusion. So here I'm going to express my personal view about that question. So what is musicality? Is there any definition? Wikipedia starts its definition as following. Musicality is sensitivity to, knowledge of, or talent for music. Yes, of course. Without sensitivity to music, no one would consider to make music at all, maybe not even listen to music. And yes, without talent, your performance will never be more than a clumsy reproduction of pitches and rhythms. But one does not necessarily need knowledge of music to be musical. I've seen people who did not have any musical education, were not able to read music notes, or had any knowledge of chords, scales, or any musical structures. But when making music, singing, producing rhythms, they create something beautiful. And we all admire real musical people who seem to possess a secret witchcraft which enables them to produce music out of nothing, who open their mouth to sing, and it's not just a row of tones, but pure emotion, real beauty, real art. These are the children in the school choir who instinctively sing a proper second or third voice without even knowing what a voice might be. In our childhood, we all listened to fairy tales about the maid at the medieval court who sang while doing the dirtiest work, while the old cruel king with a heart of stone by chance passed by, heard her singing, and at once his heart melted like a snowflake in the sun. I assume that maid never had any knowledge of music, nor had she ever thought about what she did when she sang. She just did it. And there was something in her singing that was able to touch the old man's heart. Well, she was just musical. On the other hand, there are many music students who desperately try to achieve this. They learn all the chords and scales, study all scores, practice their instruments until their fingers bleed, just to end up as an average teacher in a remote music school. No doubt, having profound knowledge of musical theory will be useful, and technical skills will enable you to realize your musical ideas. But all this has to do nothing with real musicality, and maybe all the studies and training will not help you if you do not have this certain something. I think aside from a good ear, it also has to do with the ability to pick up and transport emotions. Even the worst criminals have emotions. And I know people with an outstanding musicality who seem not to be very empathic in their daily life, who act selfish and ruthless. But when making music, they change completely, as if they had dug out all what's left from their humanity from a hidden place in their heart, and appear to be a completely different person when singing or playing. The man who committed the most terrible cruelties in history, the organizer of the terrible Holocaust in Nazi Germany, Reinhard Heydrich, who was responsible for the murder of countless people, was said to be an excellent and soulful violin player. So in my opinion, musicality has little to do with other human qualities. Can we learn musicality? I'm afraid not, even if some people do not want to hear this. The best music teacher can only help to develop something that already exists. A student can learn to name an interval, but if he does not have the ability to hear intervals, the best and most ambitious music teacher is lost, and all his efforts will be in vain. So let's give an example. the famous for and in jazz phrasing, which very often serves as the anticipated one of the next measure. A doo-be-doo-bop. It's not negotiable. Either you feel it or not. Even people with no musical education at all will put it at the exact proper point, and they do not even know how they do it. Other people, even with some knowledge of music, will never ever get it right. Can we develop musicality? Most people will not try to develop musicality if they do not have any already, because such people will not feel the urge to deal with that matter. I never felt the urge to deal with mathematics, and when I had to at school, it turned out I was terrible at it. But there are people who are fascinated by the things that music can do, and such a person may think, I will do that magic too. And they try hard to achieve that goal, train doggedly and spend money in endless lessons, invest countless hours in practicing and listen to every coach who promises them to make it possible with this or that secret trick that overnight and without any effort will evoke that secret witchcraft. All their efforts will be inevitably end up in nothing else but pure frustration. My advice to those people would be, just leave it and concentrate on skills you're good at and you have talent for. And just enjoy the music of other, more gifted people. Here I come to the last point of my consideration about musicality. Coaches and teachers. A good, passionate music teacher cannot be valued enough. But in my opinion, being an excellent music teacher is a special talent and does not necessarily have to do with being an outstanding musician. Many great musicians turn out to be lousy teachers, and it's a sad fact that many musicians who had not achieved the career they had dreamed of end up as frustrated music teachers just to earn their pay. Many of them should have better chosen another profession, because such a teacher is no gain for nobody, neither for the students nor for themselves. And what about all the coaches and tutorials on the internet? As we all know, there are tutorials and coaches for everything. When you open a music video, it often starts with an ad from a guy sitting on a piano telling you that you almost effortless will be able to become a great musician just reading the advertiser's blog or ebook, which you should download at once to get rid of all your problems. And of course, most of them were just, let's put it that way, BS. If those guys would have had a magic potion for musicality, they would be making music instead of selling tutorials. There is no easy way to learn, for example, playing the piano overnight without any effort. There is no easy way to become good at anything, may it be painting, carpenting, or whatever. And that goes for all musical skills too. You only can train and develop something that is already based in your personality. If you do not have musicality in your basket, you will never be able to make it sound musical, as simple as it is. And all the time and money you will spend will just be wasted effort. Musicality does not need to be combined with intelligence, education, and religious or cultural background. Even mentally disabled persons can have an outstanding musicality. Children with a natural musical talent cannot be betrayed about music. When an instrument or singer is out of tune or rhythm, they know it, even when the teacher tells them otherwise. When they happen to be taught by a lousy teacher, they find out very quickly that this teacher is not able, and in fact they know it much better than the teaching person. Maybe they won't talk about it, but they will feel it. Such talented children can suffer great damage in the hands of an unable teacher. The greatest damage a child can suffer is to lose the trust in its own musicality when the teacher does not have the greatness to accept that the pupil instinctively thinks better than he or she will ever understand. Teaching real musical children is a very sensitive task, and should only be done by persons with a highly developed sense of passion, responsibility, and the utmost respect towards the talent of the student. So, what shall we do now with all these statements? I think it has to do with having fun. If you do not really enjoy what you're doing, you might think it over, and maybe you find out that you're pursuing the wrong path. You may consider your efforts and try to improve some aspects, may it be the way you practice or whatever, but when all this will not lead to any result, which means you continue not having fun, you should think about doing something else. The world needs scientists, policemen, traders, nurses, and many, many other professions. But what the world needs most are people who do with passion and talent what they do, for the good of the society and for the good of themselves. We should have in mind that we can only be good at things that we like to do. We must never forget that making music is not only to satisfy our own vanity, though musicians can't deny having a good portion of vanity, but also to satisfy an audience's desire to spend a good time with soulful art and positive emotions. When the musician does not feel good, the audience won't either. However, these are some basic considerations about musicality. I'm keen to read what you think about, so feel free to drop a comment below. And here I'm gonna leave you with your own thoughts, and I wish you all a lot of fun either making and or enjoying good music. Have fun. Goodbye.